Good morning, my friends, and welcome back to the Pete Torre Business Hour. We are coming to you from Miami. We have now on the phone with us again part of one of the most important partners that we have on this program here at FIU College of Business. We have Dr. Ron Mesia, who is the director of the Ryder Center for Supply Chain Management at Florida International University. Dr. Mesia, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pete, for inviting me to the show.
For the benefit of the listeners, let me share a little bit about Dr. Mesia. He is a supply chain management lecturer and, of course, the director of the Ryder Center for Supply Chain Management in the Department of Marketing and Supply Chain at Florida International University. His areas of expertise are supply chain management, international trade logistics, international business, lean, and Six Sigma. Dr. Mesia has held executive corporate positions at Nortel Networks, Microsoft, Aerothrust Corporation, and Federal Express. So, Dr. Mesia, needless to say, you've got a tremendous background and a lot of expertise. And what I want to do this morning is open up really with a very important but very simple question. Why is logistics and trade so important?
Pete, it is important because academic economists and negotiators at the World Trade Organization emphasize the importance of removing formal trade barriers like tariffs, subsidies, quotas, and regulations. Over the last 50 or more years, trade barriers have been reduced. In today's world, deficiencies in logistics systems is a factor holding back trade competitiveness. From the second half of the 20th century, trade barriers were dramatically reduced through rounds of trade negotiations under the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, or GATT, World Trade Organization, or WTO, regional economic arrangements like the European Union, North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA, the Association of Southeast Nations, and unilateral liberalization by countries like China, who could see that free trade makes a positive contribution to the economic development. Today, trade barriers are very low in most advanced countries, while in emerging and developing ones, trade barriers remain generally much higher.
I have
yes.
Right. I have a question regarding. Obviously, you just mentioned most advanced countries. There are very little barriers today. Emerging and developing countries now. That's happening, I think, mostly because they're still trying to understand or they don't have the resources available to or feel comfortable enough to bring down those barriers?
That is correct. Those countries are actually developing at the present time, creating, for instance, manufacturing sections, opening different types of services industries to become part of the emerging countries. Countries, for instance, like the USA, Canada, Japan, China, the trade and logistics business, all supply chain are booming right now. Those countries that have low barriers are getting good right now. The rest of the countries are coming along to us.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, this is a huge industry. It's a massive industry in South Florida. We just had right now Rolando Aedo from the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. We talked about tourism and what that has meant to this entire region here and the commerce and the business that it has helped to produce, the jobs and all of that. There are a lot of opportunities in this industries, and my question is, what academic degree students, what can they get in terms of logistics and trade?
Okay, logistics and trade is based on the idea that every product that reaches a consumer represents the cumulative effort of multiple organizations. Collectively, it refers as a supply chain. While supply chain has been essentially existed since the start of business, the field of supply chain or trade and logistics has not been carefully studied until fairly recently. In today's economy, companies that have the most competitive efficient supply chain are the one with the best competitive advantage over those that are still developing the supply chain strategies. Supply chain executives now are aware of the importance of supply chain strategy decisions to compete in today's business world. This has led to new opportunities for careers in the areas of supply chain management. For that reason, many colleges and universities have created undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs in supply chain management. New job opportunities are arising in the field according to the U.S. Department of Labor Bureau or Labor Statistics. The median salary is almost $73,000 per year. The estimated change of employment is 2% increase year over year. Little to no experience is required for the first-time employment candidates, but education and internship are preferred.
Right, as you just said, right now the average salary $73,000 and change. Of course, that's based on having a bachelor's degree, correct?
That is correct, absolutely correct.
Now, what areas of logistics and trade students, what specific areas do they get training on?
The logistics and trade is a very vast field. The students can focus on some of the following areas: demand planning, forecasting, purchasing, inventory management, production and manufacturing, distribution planning, material handling, warehousing, order fulfillment, order management, transportation, custom clearance. As you can see, there are many areas where the students can focus on. There are too many areas, right?
Exactly. And when I first got into the real world out of high school, I got into the flour importing industry way back in the day, and I was there at the very beginning of this industry, which has been around a long, long time here in Miami, and they're importing and bringing in, cut flours from South America and the Caribbean and all of that. Everything you just mentioned with that, myself and many of my colleagues were actually doing, but it wasn't, we were doing the purchasing and the inventory management and distribution planning, handling the material, warehousing, and all of that. And it was something we just did because you had to do that because, as these flours were coming in, you had to put them here and store them in coolers and then get them out on trucks or by air. So everything you just mentioned, we did. But what's beautiful here is that you can now offer a curriculum that takes apart all of these key areas of supply chain management.
That is correct. As a matter of fact, you cannot believe that the students that are already, as you mentioned, working in the field, then come to FIU and receive actually practical experience with professors that are coming directly from the field. We provide a rich background in this particular field, in this particular industry.
Absolutely. No, this is terrific, and there's many also trade organizations that are partnering up with local colleges and offering this curriculum through certificates and degrees and things like that will help, professionalize also the industry and take it to a whole different level there. So I applaud. We have a couple minutes left here, and can you stay with us a little bit?
Sure, absolutely.
All right. Before we go to break, what schools in the U.S. are offering logistics and trade, supply chain management education?
What happened outside of South Florida and what happened with the rest of the world? In the USA, we have, for instance, Michigan State University, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT.
MIT. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, MIT, Arizona University, University of Tennessee, Ohio State, Pennsylvania State, University of Michigan, Arbor. Most of universities are creating some sort of supply chain education. International universities all over the world are creating new supply chain programs. Also, we have professional organizations like the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals, or CSCMP, that gather academics and professional practitioners from all over the world with their church knowledge and experience. After the break, we can talk about South Florida education.
Absolutely. Again, we're here with Dr. Ronald Mesia. He is director of the Ryder Center for Supply Chain Management at Florida International University. Dr. Mesia, what industry students can work with logistics and trade degrees?
With a supply chain management degree, students can have the opportunity to work in many types of industries. For instance, airlines, such as American Airlines, United Airlines, Continental Airlines, cruises such as Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Norwegian, express carriers such as FedEx, UPS, DHL, freight forwarders such as Hellman Logistics, Panalpina, SIVA, technology companies such as Microsoft, HP, Samsung, retail as Walmart, Target, Best Buy, pharmaceutical like Merck, Pfizer, Novartis, trucking companies like Yellow, Roadrunner, consumer Kellogg's, General Mills, container shipping companies like APL, NYK, Evergreen. Yeah, with a degree in supply chain management, professionals can work in most companies, and the best of all, supply chain management professionals are not limited by industry. The knowledge acquired can be transferred from one industry to the other one.
Mm-hmm. Now, so there are a multitude of organizations that you just mentioned in different sectors of the industry that are serving the domestic market and obviously the international market. So because supply chain management is, what's happening here and what's happening around the world. But let me get back briefly to the educational opportunities. What schools in South Florida are offering logistics and trade education?
Yeah, Florida International University under the College of Business offers a certificate in supply chain, a major and a minor. Under the College of Engineering offers a Master of Science in Engineering Management with focus in supply chain management.
Mm-hmm.
Broward and Dade College offers a Bachelor in Supply Chain. Nova Southeastern University offers an MBA with a specialization in supply chain. Florida International University offers a certificate in supply chain. The other higher education institutions are also start creating new supply chain programs. And I want to emphasize just one more thing about this international aspect. It's not only the USA, it's not only South Florida, it's all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Several universities are creating this new trade, which is supply chain management, that is not new. It's an old program. But suddenly, out of the blue, most of the universities, most companies are eager to hire supply chain professionals, graduates from universities like FIU.
Dr. Mesia, we're wrapping it up this morning, and we have so many listeners with us on a daily basis, and they're sitting back, and so many of them that want to open up their own business and are thinking, is this an industry that I need to consider, and should I consider it, and why?
Yeah, most definitely. It's an industry that prepares you to make the trade because, as you know, through the globalization, the manufacturing has been moving to Southeast Asia. Products need to be coming back again to USA and export from the USA to the rest of the world. If students or professionals are prepared in this particular field, they're going to have the competitive advantage to the rest of the organizations who are not prepared. Business, supply chain compete. Business do not compete. The organizations who have a better strategic decisions are prepared in supply chain are the ones who are going to win.
Absolutely, and there's jobs, many, many jobs available in this industry, especially in South Florida, because we're in such a unique position globally, geographically, and a multitude of opportunities and jobs, and just, it's only going to continue to grow. We have the Panama Canal opening up next year, the port dredging going on here to accommodate that. That's going to grow. The airport, we have the aviation director here tomorrow. So we're going to continue to talk about all these things that are part of international trade. Dr. Mesia, how can the listeners connect with you?
Yeah, they can just make an appointment to us in Ryder building in Florida International University. We have open, the students can make an appointment with us. We ask for Dr. Mesia, and I'm going to be able to talk to them. Just make an appointment with FIU, with the College of Business.
Thank you, my friend. And again, very gracious with your time, and again, to provide us these ideas and insights on this unbelievable, amazing industry, supply chain management. Thank you so much.